Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high-level game of StarCraft 2. Today we have Time versus Dark. Top right is Dark, bottom left is Time, as we can all see on the map and the way that these names are all lined up. Beautiful stuff here. Time is a fantastic TVZ player, honestly. I like watching him play. I like watching him play in most matchups, but in TVZ he does have something special that I think he sometimes lacks a bit in the other two. He just has this, I don't know, this finesse. He's very quick. He has a lot of cool build orders. And he is primarily a bio player, which is, of course, in my opinion, always very fun to watch. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this game. We have the first SCV being sent down here. We'll throw down a command center and also a scout. Now this is really the sign of these solid TVZ players. Clem does it as well a lot, where they just scout every single game in this matchup because they feel so comfortable in the matchup. They don't want to have any surprises in the first 3 to 4 minutes against any type of early pooling, proxy hatching, road rushing, cheesing zergs, you know? You name it and they are around doing their weird build orders. Time says no, not today. Sends out an SCV scout. Followed this up with a very standard opener, honestly. Just a Marine factory after that first Reaper. No type of 3 Rex we have seen Maru play in the past. Often that starts, of course, with that reactor first, which we're not really getting right now, as the Reaper is the first unit of choice. We have the never-ending dance between the Reapers and the Lings. As there's 6 Links out, really none of these Links should die, and I think Time will be happy just seeing that the opponent cut 1 drone to get 6 Links rather than just building 4 Links. Triple CC, once again, this is so standard these days. All of these top Terrans love playing it. Hero Marines, Clam, Time. I wanted to say Innovation, but I realized he's still in the army. With Innovation, I bet if he was there also would absolutely love to play Triple CC openers. He was so keen on that build order. I was kind of in my mind, Innovation was the guy that kind of popularized that in a way. Not really popularized, but he was the first one that just played it super consistently. He was like, okay, I'm just going to play Triple CC every single game. You can't kill me. I'm going to have great eco into the mid game. I don't need to deal a lot of damage into early as long as my mid game is solid. And he was really one of these players that just had a crap ton of units and just kind of killed people in these mid game pushes. And of course, last year we saw that rise of Clem playing a very similar style, often off of Triple CC Banshee openers, but also liking to mix in those Triple CC Viking, like we're seeing right now, for example, out of Time. This is a little riskier, as you have less defense against Roach play. On a map the size of Hardwire, where it's super easy to see Roach move outs though, I don't mind it whatsoever. I think it's actually a good call. The 30C finishes up, immediately turns into an orbital command. We see Dark marching around the map, and we know Dark a little bit. Well, I know Dark a little bit. I know how he likes to play in this matchup. If it's not Roaches, it is the Link Bane style with the triple hatchery in the main. This is an absolute Dark classic move. We've seen him pull it many, many times. To the great frustration of many top Zerg players. They're like, oh, it's not actually good to get triple hatchery in your main base. And it probably isn't super optimal. He does drop in supply a little bit into that 6 to 8 minute mark. But at the same time, I mean, if it works for him, he's a fantastic player. Always makes it in top 8s, top 4s, wins tournaments, you know. I don't think Dark is a guy that is easy to criticize. At least, well, you can criticize his play, I guess, but he has the accolades to back it up, you know. He has that achievement list. 4 mine drop. This is actually an odd build order that we don't really see. So this was 4 Hellion into 4 mine. There's no drilling claws here. It is the same amount of factory units, which means that it's also the same exact amount, or the same timing of barracks as we would have with a standard Viking into Liberator 8 Hellion type of play. But perhaps it can do a little more damage than we usually see those types of builds do. 4 Hellions pop in, kill 4 drones here, and all these mines are going to burrow, try to get a little bit of damage, and they will actually get more than just a little bit of damage. 8 workers, also that's actually just 4 more workers going down. I kind of wish that he would have dropped 2 in the main, 2 in the natural, so then he could have also saved the 2 in the natural. Of course, the ones in the main that you leave behind are never going to get back into that medevac. Not the worst start, the Hellions are still alive, the medevac's alive, and there's still a single mine as well. More mine production is on the way right now, and relatively soon we should see those extra hatcheries go down in the main base. Maybe we'll see one go down in the natural, it's a possibility. If this mine drops, it has a couple of seconds away from firing. but it will not get taken out before that. 3 more workers go down, and we see 12 workers have fallen. 4 Hellions still alive. Ooh, Dark is looking for some damage. He might actually be able to find it. Goes in for the surround here, and will start targeting some SCVs, but ends up losing a lot of workers. I don't think he even killed 1 worker yet. He actually hasn't. Wow. Lost a bunch of links there. Kind of painful. 22 links have gone down. 12 drones. 4 mines, 5 marines, 1 reaper, and of course 3 overlords, as the Viking has been putting in some work. Has 2 overlord kills already. Now, the Viking is useful for getting kills, but it's also super useful in denying vision in these types of areas. These dead spaces where usually overlords get to chill, we now see absolutely nothing. As the first hatchery, the macro hatch in the main base is being thrown down. Surely to be followed. Yep, there we go, by another hatchery. And this is typical Dark. We see him do this every single game that he plays these double evo styles, or he even sometimes quick layer into Baneling, although it is very rare to see him play that. He'll still get these extra evo chambers. He just loves getting that larva. The reason for that is because he's the only player that I am aware of that marches all of his creeps on the map. So, all of his queens on the map. I think that creep there. But he has a lot of defense with these queens, but as a result often he doesn't really have any way to inject the main or the natural anymore. Once he walks away, these queens to the front, one gets taken out. +1 weapons wasn't even done yet for these. Oh my god, that was some great target fire out of time here. Targeting down 3 Banes immediately. Although they were slow, they were on creep, so it's not super easy. These marines get picked up and sent back home. Work count is surprisingly low here for Dark, who is falling behind in eco, and this is something that a lot of the Zerg players say. They say, hey, these double proxy hatches or these double macro hatches are fun, but they do cost you a fair amount of supply. Dark doesn't really seem to care too much though. He's one of these players that is extremely good at playing from behind, as majority of his games are being played from behind because of his alt choices in build orders often. I always wonder what would happen if Dark actually would start playing some extremely efficient build. Like, it's obvious that he has some great mechanics, he has fantastic decision making. His fights are, well, second to none basically. Albut's moving forward here, a couple of mines show up as well. There's no detection, so the moment these mines burrow, they might actually get not just a single shot, but also a second shot. That could be potentially a big mine. It's not quite going to connect with any of these Banes. All of these Banes detonating though. 11 drones going down on the side of Dark, who's struggling to stay alive here. Opting for the +2 melee over the +2 carapace as well is a rare decision. Often Zerg players much prefer the carapace, as if banelings connect they will kill anyway, and majority of the time you're just trying to keep your banes and links alive to get into good positions. And of course if they receive less damage, that could be huge. Now these marines will clean up 1 more creep tumor, then get picked up. At the same time we have a big push marching towards the right side as a Hydra then gets thrown down. We're still only on 4 gases though, so getting some proper Hydra production up will be difficult while keeping these baneling numbers high as well. And of course also getting the Hydra upgrades, getting the carapace upgrades. Eventually you want to get that infestation pit. That is something that we definitely need to pay attention to. This baneling count here isn't that large. It's actually only 8 or so, yeah, 9. Well, at this point only 6 left. Dark might struggle to actually break this position. Couple of decent mine shots as well. A bit of friendly fire though. This tank will get taken out. These marines will survive for now. 3 more marines make their way into this this ball of Zerglings. 2 more marines will get picked up here. Good fight out of Dark, who is slightly behind in resources lost still, but has been out mining his opponent for the majority of this game, especially when it comes to that mineral income. You see the gas not that high, only on 4 gas. Time already on a 4th base, 5th base on the way. Up in workers here actually. I had not expected that. That's a very high worker count, and that means that most likely extra barracks can be thrown down. Oh my god, the extra barracks are here already. Man, Time absolutely chrono boosting his eco here, look at that. Freaking 8 barracks, 50 CC on the way, +2 vehicle weapons? Am I seeing this correctly? +2 vehicle weapons? Man, this guy has an insane eco. Insane upgrades as well. Solid infrastructure. Time is in complete control in this game so far. All these medevacts are floating around, can't get another pickup. I can't even see what he was targeting, but it looked like banelings exploding, so it must have been a couple of banes. These overlords made their way back into their little dead space, making sure to spot whatever is going on. Dark has taken a 5th base here, and soon we'll surely start getting these extra gases, as he's still only on 4, as he moves into the higher drones count. he should be capable of taking extra gas and then perhaps tech into lurkers from here on out. Seems to be kind of fine with staying on link lane for this elongated amount of time though. Things will get taken out here, as I don't think they can fight this army. I think Dark realizes that as well. There's a couple of Banes on the way. Good scan out of 10 time, making sure there's nothing burrowed. Make sure he can take out these Banes as well. That was a big pickup, honestly. I did like that a lot. Big pickup indeed. 3-3 on the way. That was a huge mine hit. 21 kills on that one mine, 2 on the other. I don't think Dark can actually fight off creep, but a lot of these mines are kind of stacked on top of one another, which is not usually how you want to be using these mines. Tanks are going to get taken out. I'm not quite sure how Dark does it, but he will clean up a lot of these factory units. And now all he needs is another wave of banelings to ensure that he can keep his creep alive, or at least fight somewhat efficiently on creep. 79 workers against 77 in favor of Dark. As that mineral income still is very high, the gas income still kind of small. His +2 range is on the way already. There's going to be a point in time, and that point in time is going to hit pretty soon, at which time we'll have 3-3, and he will be fighting against 2-2-2 units. And I don't believe lurkers will be out yet. And even if they would be out, I mean, there's Ghost already. There's a pretty high tank count, or well, there's 3 right now, but with double factory production, actually triple factory production, 2 of those building tanks, the other one building mines. I actually think time is looking pretty powerful here. I do like his position quite a bit, to be honest. I really do like it. His army will start moving towards the left side as we have triple medevacs. Still trying their best to deal some damage there. There's not a lot of creep here to take care of, but these mines perhaps can get some good hits. Not the hit that time was hoping for, obviously. These next one will be a little bit better. 10-12 links. Double drop here on the right side will not only deny some creep, but will also force Dark to move towards the left side to get this base over here, most likely. Or at least temporarily wait with this drone. So we see Dark immediately say, okay, I want to still take this 6th base here. A couple of links being sent out, either just for spotting or for a potential run by. We have double sensor towers placed right next to one another, kind of covering each other's bum. Very cool. Not quite sure how useful it is. Wouldn't mind seeing +3 vehicle weapons starting as well. That fast transition into these vehicle weapon upgrades is really cool, and we don't often see it with these mine openers, honestly, because Terrans are like, well, when will I need it? The problem is that very often Terrans only start getting the vehicle upgrades when they already want them done. So they start their +1 when they're like, oh, I wish I had vehicle weapons right now. Time kind of anticipating that he wants it later on in the game. Started them very fast. This is a huge run by the way. An absolute crap ton of links. Time, of course, sees it on the minimap with his sensor towers. But these 2 tanks are going to fall. Mines will burrow. No target fire, no target fire. I don't think it's quite necessary, as a lot of these links will end up falling. The army returns back home. This wall's in a little bit of danger. I wouldn't mind a repair here. At the same time, a Stimback might just be able to save the wall. No, Link starts streaming in. Depot not being raised in time. Now that is a relatively big error, because this means that the Links get into the main base, and it means that there's a second mineral line that they can now start assaulting. As the Links in the natural did get cleaned up. There's a lot of money in the bank here for time with still that single tank over here. Will get taken out most likely. 4 tanks will remain, 2 more on the way. Level 3 vehicle weapons as well. Popping off as it's halfway done, or almost halfway done. Worker count has been lowered by 10. That means that time used to have a very high worker count, and now it just has a regular high worker count. He's taking a 6th base already, increasing his orbital count as well, as we see 4 more command centers on the way, with well, so far only 3 orbital commands done. A 4th one on the way that most likely will raise the numbers up to 8 orbitals, and that's very useful. We do have that Nidus network on the way, another command center being thrown down here. This most likely will be used as a planetary to kind of control that middle area. I wouldn't even mind this turning into a planetary either. It's something we have seen in the past from Terran players on this map, making it a bit easier to control that right side of the map. If you have a planetary here, you have a planetary here, you can really focus your forces on this base, making sure that doesn't get taken too quick. Once you take this forward planetary, you really have a strong anchor that you can kind of fall back on. Like almost a launching pad for all of your attacks, you know, these middle planetaries. Also allows you to deny the left side base easily, because once again, you have a fallback place. Like kind of like a safe house here. I really would like this to be a planetary on this location and not on that far left location, because I think that would spread him a bit too thin. And indeed, we're seeing a planetary here. Do we already have upgrades for it? We have every single upgrade from the eBay, or practically every single upgrade from the eBay at this point. Maybe I'm missing one, but I don't think I am. So another planetary most likely here in the middle. Ground Carapace finally finishes up as the first, I think these are the first lurkers, right? Yeah, first 6 lurkers, 150 links are out. Time is just playing a very passive camping style here. I really do believe that at this point nukes, as well as just slowly but surely pushing this right side position, are going to be key in winning this game here for Time. Stims a portion of his army forward. I really like this position for Time. Terran's always going to trade semi-favorably, and I think that is just the reality that Dark will need to start dealing with. 3 of the 6 lurkers will get taken out by Ghost, and the Ghosts really aren't taking any damage whatsoever. Now these Marauders start stimming in. They're like, hey, wait a second. If these lurkers are gone, I can probably actually deal some damage here. Ghost once again move towards the middle area as the single Spore, well, it's gonna get taken out. This tank over here is beautiful. Not a single Viper is out, which means that tanks are going to feel extremely overpowered here from the Zerg side. Liberator being here without any real anti-air is also not going to help Dark, of course. Dark is trying to take that left side base, but is immediately being spotted by the sensor tower. And a single drop or a double drop could make short work of that position. Time is... I understand why Time is so passive here. He's like, okay, I don't actually need to do anything. I just add more command centers. I get more orbital commands. And from here on out, I mean, this is what you want in life, isn't it? You want to have so many orbital commands that eventually you can start giving up SCVs before your opponent can start giving up drones. And then in these fights, you will just trade better than your opponent. So I'm still trying to figure out how many orbitals there are currently. There we go, 7. And 2 more command centers just kind of idling. Well, one being turned into a planetary, the other one could still turn into an orbital. We have a big fight into this position. This obviously is not going to be working. Oh my good lord, oh no. I think there was a mine killing the Ghost there. That was not Banelings. If that hadn't happened, this fight would have been absolutely brilliant. 35 Hydras? Excuse me? It's gonna be a lot of lurkers, I guess. Dark realizing his fights haven't been so great. Honestly, this fight should have gone god-awful, but it just ended up being regular awful. Different gradations of bad fights there for Dark. Because these Ghosts ended up dying to one of their own mine shots. I think there was legit 6 Ghosts going down. Now there's 13 lurkers on the way. As well as Burrow, Neural Parasite. I think Burrow's done already, yeah. So we have the ability for Neural Parasite being burrowed. Trying to get one of these Ghosts and getting a big EMP. Infernal Pre-Igniters also being researched. I wouldn't mind some of these vehicle plating upgrades being added in. Or perhaps ship weapons. This Nidus is going to fall for now. As kind of like this position here for this tank. It's doing a good job denying everything. I pretty much shoot at every Nidus. I think there is. One Nidus could be here. I guess this is the only Nidus it couldn't shoot. You could build like one depot here, so a Nidus can be placed in that area. So a tank will always hold it. I honestly think that's the future. Just build a depot, lower the depot so it doesn't block your units. Yeah, this is exactly the Nidus that I was thinking about. Time needs to be fast because of this, but... Ooh, Time actually takes out the changelings before he goes for that Nidus, but with the +2 vehicle weapons. It's not much of an issue. At the same time, Dark is pushing towards the middle. This feels like a mistake. Let's have a look at these resources lost. There's so many Ghosts here. And there's no Overseer. That means that a lot of these lurkers will end up falling. That is, I think, 4 or 5 lurkers going down there. That's like a 1.5k, 2k loss. Just in the middle. At the same time, this drop is just going to get taken out if Time isn't careful. There's a Liberator here, but no tank in a forward position. Means that these lurkers could actually potentially be very annoying. I think one tank needs to start moving forward. The Liberator's not here yet. Ghost moving towards the right side will be able to snipe all of these lurkers, right? Yeah, there we go. Every single lurker will fall here. A couple of good transfuses, though. This mine will burrow. Is there any snipes left? I don't think there quite is. This planetary will get taken out. More lurkers on the way on the left side. Huh. Overall, good trades for Time, but need to be careful that he can't get broken. That really is the main concern for Terran at all times. It's not so much trading well, you're automatically trading well. The main concern always is going to be, hey, am I gonna get broken? And if I get broken, can I recover from that? Does not lift the orbital command here. This orbital will get lifted. Tank sieges up defensively as well as these lurkers now start marching in towards the middle. Dark wants to take out this middle planetary as well, kind of removing these points on the map where there's always safety for Ghost and Bio. Of course, planetary has a lot of damage output and has a lot of HP. The rest of these tanks are also going to get taken out there. Dark is just kind of going on a rampage. He's losing a lot of army, but the fights have been cost efficient in the past minute or so. He was down 13k resources lost. Now he's only down 12k, even a little less. So overall, not that bad of a fight. Does end up losing a couple of extra lurkers, and Time still has a crap ton of money in the bank, of course. But I think Dark removed a lot of the things on the map that were problematic for him. A lot of these planetaries have been taken out. There's no backup command centers. I actually think it's super vital at this point for Time to rebuild these planetaries. I think this is the #1 priority that he should be working kind of towards. This base is safe. I mean, Liberator, 2 mines, 2 tanks, infinite turrets as well, and a planetary. That means that the defensive efforts can kind of be directed towards that left side. I really dislike that this will turn into an orbital, or perhaps I don't dislike that this is an orbital. I dislike there's no planetary over here anymore. I think this is super vital for for Time survival in this game. The first few infestors have made it onto the map now, and the question is going to be, will they achieve what they have achieved in the past? And that is a neural on a Ghost, a quick EMP on the entire Ghost Clump, and from there on out, leveraging that type of lead into a good fight. There's too many turrets here. I think this just gets spotted, right? There's potential perhaps for something as this infestor gets shelled down. I mean, it's still there, but it definitely should be getting shelled down. Dark is considering running into this. That's interesting, because I think it's a really bad idea. But then again, he is Dark, and he usually takes good fights. He's marching towards the left side with a lot of infestors. Could go for a burrow here, a couple of fungals perhaps. I'm not sure what his plan is exactly going to be. Because both of these infestors will get taken out by single snipers. Once again, good scan here. A couple of snipes will go down, take out all of these lurkers. Now an EMP has some potential to hit. There we go. That's a big EMP actually. This base will die. At the same time, the lurkers raiding that right side. And I thought it would be safe enough, but I couldn't have been more wrong, as that base looks pretty dead right now. Now there is still a planetary here on the bottom side, and there's 1 mine defending it. But I also believe that this base is going to end up falling, as the repair just won't be enough. Target fire out of the planetary is good. 2 lurkers will fall. But Time's actually in potentially a little bit of trouble. Sure, Dark isn't mining that much, but this base still will be mining. And Time just doesn't have any workers right now. His army is huge, don't get me wrong. It's absolutely huge. His orbital count is still at... Why can I never find the orbital commands? 6? An orbital count of 6, which means that there definitely is a possibility here for Time to mule a base and get a crap ton of money. Even though he's staying on a very large number of units and not so many SCVs. He can still get a high income, but it is scary, and especially no planetaries flying over to these bases means that a lot of the defensive efforts now will be on that right side. Left side feels secure, but the question is it really? With a Spire on the way, still no, not a single Viper has been built this game, by the way. Just wanna... Oh no, actually that's incorrect. A single Viper has died. It has been built and has died. It hadn't had a huge impact, or at least I haven't seen the impact that it has had. I like these tank positions, as once again Dark is going for a bit of a bust here, looking to find some damage where I don't believe there is any damage to be found. And for the gazillion time in a row, ooh, that actually is a good fungal. A couple of these goes all around, but for the gazillion time in a row, well, actually that's not true. Resources lost have been pretty close this entire game. Now, that is nice for Dark in a way, but because his income isn't that large anymore, and because his opponent has such a large army, I think it's actually going to be very close to impossible to take a good fight in the next 3-4 minutes. We might even need to tech into Broodlords from here on out and hope that our opponent forgets to build Thors. If if we're looking at this from Dark's perspective. Once again, this orbital command will start moving forward. I'm surprised how well Dark has been fighting. Like, I've been looking at some of these fights. They feel bad, but I guess his overall value out of the Lurkers has been pretty good. And that is honestly kind of surprising, knowing how well Terran usually trades. 8 Corruptors now on the way, and those can turn into Brute Lords once this Greater Spire ends up finishing up as well. 2 more Overlords being sent out on the map. The problem here for Dark is just really that I don't see him take any of the 2 bases that are considered somewhat neutral, and this right side base eventually will go to Time. That much is obvious to me, right? So unless Dark starts mining from this left side base, he's just going to be down a very large amount of resources that he won't be mining. We have a single Nidus going down to here towards the bottom right side. Time is not responding yet. I love this Nidus though. This is a great little Nidus that is definitely going to be taking out this orbital, or at least all the SCVs there, unless Time decides to move his crap away. A couple of Corruptors start working on these Liberators. Cool to see without any ghosts there, of course, not quite as scary. Single Lurker will start moving behind this mineral line. Are there scans available? I think there's 1 scan available, and that means that this Lurker will bite the dust. Will bite the dust, as the Germans would say. Another tank gets taken out here, 7 workers as well. Now we have double Thor on the way, which is the correct call. After spotting these Corruptors, there's of course always that possibility that there's going to be a couple of Broodies. As the map is now, well, properly split, honestly. And, well, Time still being up 13 supply and resources lost means that most likely this Broodlord push is going to be the final hooray of Dark. He's not fighting for the left side base. He's not fighting for the right side base. That means he must be trying to fight the main army. The question is he going to be capable of doing just that? There's 1 Thor out, 2 more on the way. Vehicle plating level 3 is coming out. And what are the air upgrades? The answer is there are no air upgrades. Not a single one. There's now 1 on the way, but look, I like Brute Lords and all, but if you don't have any upgrades, no armor, no attack upgrades, Brute Lords just get a lot weaker. A lot of spores are being constructed here as Dark is trying to get rid of some supply. A single tank might be able to actually fire here if he would scan. Of course, he's not quite doing that yet. And Time is moving up on this base right now. He wants to take this base. He says, I think I can do it. And I honestly, excuse me? Hello? Sir, this is a landing zone? Like building a garden at a helicopter landing pad. This makes absolutely no sense. Mine does get taken out on the right side, and Dark actually marches towards that right side right now. This base still has a fair amount of minerals as well. There's not that much anti-air. There's a lot of tanks here, and tanks are very vulnerable to Brute Lords. Not just because they can't attack up, but because tanks just splash each other to death usually. Brute Link's a perfect target practice for these tanks. Ooh, there are a lot of ghosts here though. No overseers, and all of these Brute Lords are gonna get taken out. Well, all of them. Half of them will get taken out. So that is a tank versus Brute Lord trade. Time still ahead in that unit, lost by 15k at this point. This game is getting more and more painful for Dark, who honestly is kind of grasping at straws here. Like he's over. It feels like he's over at least. Liberator's moving forward. GG gets caught before the big fight even. Dark says, hey, I can't win this anymore, and I think it's correct. Time, with very passive play, good unit movement, and solid siege positions, just holds this game and kind of constricts Dark's movement, his eco as well, and just wins it. Fantastic play here out of the Chinese Terran player, who once again shows that he's definitely capable of messing with the best in this matchup. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you all did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And I stream every day live on Twitch between 12 and 3 Central European Time, twitch.tv/HARSTEM. So be sure to check me out there as well.